Welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. If you've watched my videos before, you've probably noticed that I really like the Baofeng handheld radios. These things are a pretty basic, cheap, $20 handheld VHF UHF radio. They're great for amateur radio stuff, VHF marine, scanning, very basic introduction to handheld radios and amateur radio stuff. Now, a lot of radio amateurs do not like these for some reasons that I might discuss later, but these things have definitely improved since the early versions, and I think they're a great first radio for a new amateur. They're great for throwing in your boat for VHF marine use, your car, your house. I have these radios all over the place, and I almost consider them disposable because they're about $20. You can keep one in your kayak, you can have one in your car. If you drop it in the lake, well, you're only out 20 bucks. Now, I've never been an early adopter of technology, but I've been hearing rumors about a somewhat newer radio that supposedly is much, much better than the Baofeng, the Quangsheng UV-K5. Now, I might be mispronouncing the name on this, but either way, the Quangsheng here promises a similar price point to the Baofeng handheld with many, many more features, and it is much more hackable, or at least that's what I've heard. So today we're going to take a look at that and see, does this thing actually live up to the hype? Now, this is not a sponsored review for either of these products. In fact, this isn't really a review of the Quangsheng radio because this is the first time I've had my hands on one, and I don't know what features to show off because I don't know what the features are. I've read about it a little bit, like I said, but I've never used one before. Now, somebody just sent me one of these, so thank you to Mr. W. I think he might want to remain anonymous beyond that, but this is something that I've had on my to-do list for a while, and today we're going to just take a look at it and see what I think. So right away, the Quangsheng here is very similar to the Baofeng. It's slightly bigger, but basically the same form factor, very similar front panel arrangement. It's the same antenna jack, so you can interchange your antennas to some extent. They also have basically the same speaker microphone jack, so you can probably interchange headsets, microphones, or accessories like the Boondock Echo between these two radios. This is a pretty standard audio arrangement. I think it's originally a Kenwood design. Now, beyond that, there aren't a lot of interchangeable parts. The batteries on these are quite different. If we look on the back of the Quangsheng here, we get some specifications for it. Now, much like the Baofeng, this is theoretically rated for 144 to 148 megahertz VHF and 420 to 450 megahertz UHF. So essentially the amateur radio 2-meter band and then the 70 centimeter band or business band. There is some overlap between different bands depending what region you're in. Now, the Baofeng here, or on the back, it calls itself a Baofeng. There are a million knockoffs and clones of these things. I think there's probably just one factory that churns these out by the millions, and they just throw a different name on it every week to see what sticks on Amazon. Anyway, this Baofeng or Baofeng claims it will go from 136 to 174 megahertz VHF and 400 to 520 megahertz UHF. So on paper, this has a wider frequency range. However, on the Baofeng, you can't easily go outside of that frequency range. It's not really designed to do much else beyond VHF or UHF, and even custom firmware or custom programming really won't let you exceed those limits. What sets the Quangsheng apart is the theoretical ability to go way, way beyond those limits. This thing will supposedly receive and transmit from 18 megahertz up to 1.3 gigahertz. Now, that's a pretty insane frequency range for a handheld radio like this, and it does come with some caveats. It won't actually do that very well. It will receive, again, theoretically, both AM, FM, and upper sideband, which may be of interest to ham radio enthusiasts, but it doesn't receive anything except FM very efficiently, and it definitely doesn't transmit on frequencies outside of that 2-meter, 70 centimeter band with any efficiency either. There are built-in filters in here that optimize it for 2-meter and 70 centimeter, that 144, 148, and 420 to 450 range. Anything outside of that, while it will technically transmit a signal, will generate interference across many other bands. Will have massive amounts of harmonics. That was one of the major complaints about the Baofeng. When these first came out, ham radio operators noticed that if you transmit on, say, 145 megahertz, you will get spurious emissions all over the wavelengths. You will get transmissions up in 145, down 136. You'll get stuff on airband. You'll get stuff up into business band. So these are not clean radios. At least the first versions of these were not. They were very RF dirty. Now Baofeng has cleaned up their radios a bit. Later versions of this have better filtering, and they tend not to do that as much. They are much more FCC approved. Ham radio operators do still dislike these because they're too simple. They let anyone get on the air and get on a radio, sometimes before they bother to go through the licensing steps and become legitimate. So yeah, a lot of ham radio operators don't like the bar for entry into the radio hobby being set so low, which Baofeng definitely did. Now getting back to the Quangsheng, this is supposedly even worse than the earlier Baofengs. If you try to transmit on something like a CB radio frequency, you are going to generate harmonic interference all over the spectrum, all the way potentially up to that gigahertz range. So this thing is a dirty radio, and especially if you're using it for out-of-band stuff, which I probably won't be doing in this video because I have a ham radio license. I don't want to interfere with stuff, and I don't want to get in trouble with the FCC. As a receiver, however, this does have a lot of promise for being able to receive frequencies, again, all the way from down in AM up to gigahertz range. And I should mention that the antenna that's used with this is another limiting factor for how well that actually works in practice. The stock antenna is tuned for VHF, UHF. It should say something like UV on the side. And that just means that the length of this antenna, or the coil that's in here, is trimmed to such a length that it resonates properly at both VHF and UHF frequencies. If you're putting a different resonance frequency into it, again, it won't resonate very well. You won't get a very good transmission. You won't get a very good reception, but you can swap out the antenna. You could put an airband antenna on here, use it for airband scanning. You could put I guess a CB antenna on here and use it for CB radio reception if you really wanted to. Although CB handhelds are pretty cheap. And potentially, I guess you could put a microwave antenna on here and maybe listen to some microwave frequencies or some satellite frequencies.
Which means in a repetitive fashion, taxation or
It's a bigger screen than the Baofeng, so you get more information on there. Otherwise, it's very similar to most handheld radios. Now, I should note that I didn't put these frequencies in. I think these are FRS, which is not something you should be transmitting on because these are not FCC approved for FRS radio. For one thing, the power output is too much, and the other thing, they have a detachable antenna, which is a big no-no. So don't use these frequencies for transmitting. I'm assuming the prior owner only used this for receiving and scanning. We have a kind of standard on-screen menu of local settings that we can change for repeater use, transmit frequency, wavelength. Now there is a scrambler option on here, which is kind of interesting. That is another thing that is technically illegal for ham frequencies, and I don't think this is going to be any kind of strong encryption. This is probably just to keep casual listeners from hearing your conversation. The FCC, ham radio operators, spook agencies can probably break that pretty easily. Now I've mentioned using this as a radio scanner, and it has a couple improvements over the Baofeng for that. You can set different lists. These things are kind of notoriously bad for scanning. They will very slowly go through a set frequency range or saved frequencies, but they're just not as good as, say, a Uniden or a Radio Shack scanner or whatever the modern scanners are. I'm dating myself here by naming off scanners that probably don't exist anymore. And the old Baofengs are also pretty notorious for having terrible default squelch settings. That's something you can change in the programming software. And one more improvement over the Baofeng is that this comes with USB charging by default. So we have a USB-C plug right in the side of the thing. Now you can't program it with that USB-C. You still have to use the old audio cable USB interface that never works quite right on Windows. Now I should note, if I didn't before, this actually does have a custom firmware on it. This thing came with a firmware that was not OEM, so some of the features and stuff that I'm looking at here are not on the original radio. There are apparently a bunch of firmware options for this on GitHub. I'll throw some links down in the description to the one that it came with in case you're interested about what frequencies and what features that offers. And a couple more things to note. Apparently, if you are using a custom firmware like that, you cannot use the OEM programming software anymore because they will interfere and you might end up destroying the radio. Now, just like the Baofeng, you can use the Chirp radio programming software on this, but I've heard that some of the latest versions don't always behave right, so you might have to use a slightly older version if you experience some trouble with it. And apparently there are some web flashers available, so if you've got the firmware, you've got the radio, you've got the programming cable, you don't actually need to install any custom software. You can just go to a website and drop it on there like an Arduino or an ESP32. Basically what this is underneath is a software-defined radio and a computer. That's what a lot of radios are these days. They're basically just an SDR under the hood, and that's why it can do so many other things beyond what a traditional handheld radio can do. So one of the interesting features of the custom firmware in this is a frequency or spectrum analyzer. So we can go to function 5.
Morris gets the BNSF 5623 East, main 2, St. Paul South. Branch from past the red flag, located at mile point 0.1, maximum authorized speed without stopping. Men and equipment in the clear, over.
Okay, copy that, thank you. CPKC, River Dispatcher.
So here is a perfect example of harmonics causing interference. I was trying to listen to Brazilian Satcom pirates, and instead I ran into two different interference patterns from two different things. So we're on 260 megahertz. We shouldn't really be hearing much on here except the US Navy satellites and Brazilian radio pirates, but instead we're hearing NOAA weather radio and a broadcast station, both stepping on each other, both on the wrong frequency. So yeah, that's an example of harmonics interacting with each other, and probably it's a factor of the cheap antenna here and just the cheap radio electronics and lack of filtering inside the radio. So I've been reading some more documentation on the custom firmware on this thing, and it seems like the real killer app here is the spectrum analyzer. That was this function 5 unit. So there is not just the default spectrum analyzer that you can see here. We can change all kinds of the settings about it. So we can toggle through number of channels that it's looking at. We can increase or decrease how big the frequency step is. We can go in here and just manually change the start of that frequency sweep. We can increase and decrease the squelch. We can toggle between FM, AM, and single sideband or upper sideband in this case. So if we're scanning through here and we get something with a bunch of noise or something that we're not interested in, we can just lock that out. So I could see this being actually the most useful part of this radio, of just being able to have a spectrum analyzer, be able to scroll through it, filter out frequencies you don't want, lock onto frequencies you do want. We can put those frequencies that we're interested in into the scan range. So it's got a lot of potential, and I am definitely still learning how to use this. I am still fumbling around a little bit with all the controls on the spectrum analyzer and the frequency sweep option here, but it definitely seems really promising and really cool. This is much more like having a SDR radio, like having GQRX, SDR++, being able to look at the frequency spectrum, see where there are active signals, tune into those signals, and potentially do other stuff with them. So it's a little bit more user-friendly than just a raw radio with just raw frequency numbers. Although again, there is a learning curve, and I am still trying to learn how all of this works. Yeah, you can actually see this dashed line here is the squelch setting as I go up and down. So if I hit asterisk here, that squelch threshold goes up. Otherwise, if I hit F, it goes down. And now we're hitting this strong signal, which is probably coming from one of my computers, because that just sounds like interference. So I'm scanning through the 2-meter ham band, and it'll jump to the strongest signal at the moment. I think this is a... Yeah, I think this is a repeater. It's a little bit scratchy.
I have to clean that antenna off a little bit. I'll catch you later, Mark. It's all right, Kizzy.
Now another thing we can do once we have a strong signal pinpointed in the spectrum analyzer, if we want to get even more detail about that signal, we can click the push to talk button on the side here, and we have a detailed view of more statistics. So we've got signal strength. In this case, it's NOAA weather radio.
In effect from midnight Tuesday until noon Tuesday for the following county.
So like I said, this was just a first look at the Quangsheng radio, not a full review or anything, and I definitely am still learning how all the features work. This thing does have a steeper learning curve than the old Baofeng, and that's because it has way more features, especially with that hacked firmware. And the ability to hack the firmware, to put your own firmware on here, is a really cool option, and that gives a lot more possibilities. If you know what you're doing with this, if you know how to write custom firmware, This thing is super flexible. Even if you don't know what you're doing, it's still very flexible using someone else's firmware. As I found out, we can do all kinds of things that the Baofeng can't do. We can do a lot more scanning, a lot more radio snooping, a lot more easily and quickly seeing what's around me in the radio spectrum, where before I would need a laptop and an SDR and an external antenna. Well, now it's kind of all in my pocket with this thing. It's not quite as detailed as a real SDR. It doesn't give you the waterfall display that a modern radio would, but it's still really cool to have that spectrum analyzer. That is my favorite part of this radio, and I think that is probably the most powerful part of this. That is kind of new and different and above and beyond other offerings like Baofeng. Now, of course, the very wide range of receiving and transmitting frequencies is also different than Baofeng, but like I said, you kind of need external antennas or different antennas to get the most out of that. You're not going to be able to just jump into CB radio with the stock antenna. You're not going to be able to transmit really on anything else because the filtering is too bad and it's not going to be efficient and it's going to just pollute the airwaves. So as a scanner, this has some potential, especially when paired with other antennas. And I've actually ordered some other antennas that'll screw in here. So I'm hoping to use this for airband listening, for AM radio listening, other stuff in the future. And of course, it is not a professional quality radio. This is a very cheap radio. It's very cheap components. There's a lot of interference. It gets a lot of static. It gets a lot of spurious signals, as well as creating spurious signals if you're misusing it. So it's not really intended for professional users. You shouldn't buy it for a business. It's not going to be something to replace a police radio, a VHF marine radio on a boat. But for a casual user, for an amateur just getting into it, yeah, this could be a good first step in learning about radio stuff. And it's definitely affordable, where a lot of other radios, $300-400 for a basic handheld that does one thing, that's out of the price range of many beginners, many young ham radio people, and something like this I think could be a good alternative. Now again, as I've mentioned several times, this does have opportunities for abuse, so please don't just jump into this thing and start transmitting where you're not supposed to. Don't go in and enable the out-of-band transmitting. You don't need it. There's no reason to really use it unless you are using a dummy load for some kind of radio testing and you absolutely know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to make a mess across the radio spectrum and you're going to really annoy all the local radio amateurs. And radio amateurs have a sub-hobby of tracking down illegal transmissions and turning them into the FCC. So don't do that, because not only is it rude, it's illegal, but somebody is going to find you and the FCC will give you a big fine. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. I am really having fun with this Quangsheng radio. Thank you, Mr. W, for giving me this thing. I am going to play with it some more. I'm going to try to learn more about it, get better at using that spectrum analyzer, some of the other features on here, and maybe we'll show this in a future video. Maybe we'll be able to do something with it on a satellite band or download something interesting into it that does even more with the firmware and even more with the hardware that's in here. But we'll have to see. I have a lot of projects going on, so I may not have time to get back to this right away, but I am looking forward to playing around with it. I will put a link down in the description and you can check them out for yourself. I will also put links to some of that other firmware so you can read about the documentation, you can find out what that custom firmware does, and maybe that'll be interesting for some folks. Finally, thank you to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.